Bloody Mary Podcast.
Welcome to the Bloody Mary Podcast, where we talk about all things horror while drinking a Bloody Mary. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Tammy, and we are totally married. And tonight, we are talking about and ranking the Saw movies.
The Saw movies. And spoilers, we're going to, probably spoil some stuff along the way.
Yeah, if you haven't seen any of these movies, then you're living under a rock and what?
And you might not have to see them.
You really don't need to see them.
Yeah, so the Saw franchise, right?
Yeah.
So this is one of the big ones. You have like your classics. You have Friday the 13th. You have Halloween. You have Nightmare on Elm Street. I think those are like the top tier franchises.
Right.
And you got like the second tier, and Saw sits in that second tier with a huge fan base. I think there's 9 films, and these started in the 2000s in the middle of when they kind of kickstarted the torture porn type of horror film, where you had Saw, you had Hostel, some of Rob Zombie's stuff, and a few other films. So that's what that was. And let me start by saying that Saw is definitely not my favorite horror movie franchise.
Oh, no.
And like on a whole, the Saw movies suck so hard. They are repetitive, they're drab, they're bland, and they are uninspired.
Agreed.
So
all of the above. If you haven't noticed, we don't like them.
So that's just setting the tone. We're trying to go in, but these suck.
Yeah. So if you really love the Saw movies, you might be offended from this whole thing.
Yeah, and be fun for you to watch anyways. So just keep watching. So to me, there are certain elements that make a solid horror flick, and one key element to a good horror movie or any movie are moments of respite, levity, and dare I say, comedic relief. Saw movies have none of that. Mostly, a couple do, a little bit, but as a whole, they don't. And unless you look at them from a completely different angle, that most of these movies are so goddamn bad that they're laughable.
No, we've watched ones that were bad that I enjoyed thoroughly.
Yes.
None of those were these.
I know.
None.
I'm trying to give it a little bit of, not beat them up too hard. But yeah, maybe like 2 or 3 of these have like solid comedic moments. Yeah, so I'm just gonna jump into it.
Tell me what you think. Show me your rankings.
Yeah, we're gonna rank these bitches. Let's just start. There's number 9 is Saw 5. Fuck that movie. Terrible acting. The main cop is terrible. Flashbacks nobody gives a fuck about. Cast I don't give 2 golden dog shits about. The main cop is such a bad actor, chasing the bad guy who's also a bad actor. And I feel like you have more to say about that guy than me. But anyways, this main cop is stuck in a trap, and he takes a pen and he trachs his throat to survive the trap. So the rest of this film, he's speaking and talking. He's got bandages on, and it's ADR, which is it's record after the fact in the studio. Right. It's voiced over, so all of his lines seem to be ADR, and it's so bad. It's so this movie is terrible, and I couldn't tell you much of the plot because I erased it from my memory. and this a funny story with this one is back when it was in theaters, my brother went to see it when he was younger. And I texted him when he got out of the theater and was like, so what'd you think? Mm-hmm. And he's like, Saw 5 is the best Saw movie ever.
Oh.
And since that day, I've given him so much shit for Saw 5. I've given him Saw 5 as gifts on holidays. And if he tells me a movie is good, I'll be like, oh yeah, Mr. Saw 5. So Jordan, you're going to have to defend yourself. Why 18-year-old Jordan thought that Saw 5 was the best Saw movie. You're going to have to explain yourself. So I'm just going to move right on because I don't want to talk about these for too long. Number 8 is Saw, the Final Chapter, or Saw 3D, or Saw 7. Pick a fucking title, okay? It's just, now this one is equally as bad as Saw 5, but I give it a pity point because Sean Patrick Flannery is in this, and I like him. I think he's a good actor. But in this, he isn't. But I just feel bad for the man. He's better than it. And the writers on this movie hate women.
Oh my God,
in this
so
movie,
much.
It was like, fuck my girlfriend. Oh yeah, fuck you, wife. Fuck you, woman.
Oh, that was
Right?
it. Was like all the women are evil and they must die.
Yeah, like this writer was really scorned by
Oh,
some
for
women
sure.
and took it out on this script. Yeah, it just sucks. Carrie Elwes returns. Like he was in the first one, and this is one where he comes back to like stamp the finale.
Oh my god!
And no one
he's
gave a
back.
shit. It was so lackluster. He like showed up at the beginning, was like, "Hi," and like it would have been more effective if it would have been a reveal at the end.
Right.
But they like introduced him early on, just showing up at like a meeting. Like
he
"Oh,
was just
yeah."
in an AA meeting or some
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, that's just doctor. Yeah, he survived. Like what? Okay.
No big thing.
Yeah, and nothing happens in this movie. Nothing is resolved, and a saw is thrown at the camera in 3D. This movie sucks. Moving on. So the next couple films
Yes.
still suck. Don't get me wrong; these are terrible films, but
Right.
they're just a little higher up. So number 7 is Saw 6, aka Saw in a Zoo. That's right. The traps take place in an abandoned zoo, and I really wish there was still a rogue monkey running around flinging its shit at the people stuck in the traps, because
Oh,
it would
even
have
more entertaining.
yeah. added a layer of comedy,
It would have, yeah.
which would have been cool.
They're just getting. Oh.
And like these movies just suck. And so what I liked about this one a little bit more than the others is the main guy that's running around the whole zoo trap thing.
Mhm.
I thought he was a good actor and did a good job. I liked the healthcare angle where they kidnapped a whole bunch of healthcare people, and that was kind of fun to watch. They had a cool trap that was like this merry-go-round with a shotgun on it that blew people, and you had to that blew people. That
blew
would have been way
people.
cooler.
A merry-go-round that blew people.
Yeah. I wish that was at some theme parks.
Jesus.
So yeah, that's it. That's it for that one. I don't want to talk about that anymore either. So notice I haven't really talked much about the plots of these movies. That's because there really isn't
no plots.
any plot.
None.
And there's just traps. So the main plot is there's a guy who's angry at society and he's dying of cancer, and he has an engineering degree, and he makes traps and he puts people in them for fun. And if they get out, it's by severely injuring themselves, and nobody barely ever gets out, and all of the police are stupid in these, and then there's a twist at the end, and that's every fucking
But if
movie.
they get out, they're redeemed and they have a second lease on life.
Sure, yeah, totally. They're so redeemed, these people, when they get
Oh,
out.
yeah. All the ones
so,
that get out of the
so
trap.
life-changing that they just start killing people with him. So redeemed. Yeah,
Right?
It's not okay. Yeah. Okay, number 6 is Saw 4. And this one's the Plan trilogy is over, but we have to keep making these movies because they're making money. So what do? Oh, let's take one of the featured extra actors in the last couple films and make him the star. Right?
AKA Walmart Stallone.
No, that's not what
No?
I'm talking about. It was
Damn, they all
it was-
run together.
It was the SWAT guy. The black SWAT guy from 2 and 3.
That's right.
And then suddenly he
Oh,
was the star of 4.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right?
See, they all start to blend
You
together.
forget
I don't
about
remember.
these.
I don't even.
These suck.
I forgot.
Yeah, cool, great. Okay, this movie is twist. It takes place in the same timeline as 3. Who cares? Do we learn anything? No. And why is this middle tier on my list? I don't know. I think we were watching them, and then I wasn't as jaded at 4 as I was the other ones. So that's
Right,
probably
yeah.
why. So, okay, number 5 is Saw 3, the end of the trilogy. John Kramer, the main villain, dies,
Mhm.
and so should have the franchise.
It really should have. It should have just died right there.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we made a bunch of money. Let's try something
Oh,
different.
God. Oh, I hate this.
Ugh.
But there was good acting in 3, I thought. I thought the cinematography was cool. And let's see, what I have written in my notes is, quote, titties, finally. And how could I forget? This franchise has a severe lack of boobs, butts, and wieners. There's
no
like-
wieners, no boobs.
There's
no
like maybe
butts.
1-2 boob flashes in this entire franchise, and
No butts.
it's horror.
None.
Give me some sex and nudity and whatever. So the pig trap was cool in this one. There was this trap where they were getting covered with like rotten dead pig slime. Like the pigs
right.
would drop down into this grinder and like shoot the slime at them, and like that was cool. Yeah, still sucks though.
Right, it's like, that was cool, but
all right. Number 4 is Saw 2. Donnie Wahlberg was the best part. And the needle pit trap was actually pretty cool. Like when I saw that for the first time and still watching it, that's kind of cringy where there's that whole, like they fall into the pit of needles and they're
Right.
probably used and, oh God, and where do they, I didn't like that trap, but I did like it because I didn't like it. So that one's cool. And this one isn't bad. It's a decent sequel, but just looking outside of the Saw franchise, the movie still sucks. It's like a run-of-the-mill police cop thriller,
Yeah.
you know, if you're not looking at it through the lens of the Saw franchise. Amanda's hair is cool in this one. That's what I liked. I thought like her hairstyle.
I loved her hair.
Amanda is like one of the like not main, but she's recurring roles in a lot of these.
She's one of the ones that survived.
Yeah, she's you know. Anyways, her hair was neat in this one. So good job in the hair and makeup department.
On point with the hair.
Right. Now I want to talk about just the phenomenon of Saw, like
Okay.
the Halloween craze. So, and I fell victim to this too. When the first Saw came out, I saw it twice in the theater. I was telling people about it. It was cool. And then they started making these once every year, every Halloween. I think the tagline for like 7 years was, if it's Halloween, it's Saw, or something like that.
Right.
And I went to the theater until 3. I don't think I saw 4 in the theater, but I was like part of that. I was like, oh, I'm excited to see it. And there was something about like, and there were some years where horror was just lacking in society in general, horror movies. So knowing that for sure there would be a horror franchise film in the theater was kind of cool. But these don't hold up well at all. And I just really, like, looking back, cannot see how I liked these. like these don't hold, like I can go back and watch Friday the 13th or Halloween and like almost like spin the wheel and pick one.
Right.
And I could still enjoy that one more than all of these films.
Right.
So that phenomenon was just crazy. Luckily it ended. And like 7 years later, my number 3 came out, which is Jigsaw. And this one's fine. This came out after that whole thing happened. And this was directed by the Spierig brothers, who I like. They've done some cool movies. This one has some humor, not a lot, but it actually has some.
It does. And
Yeah.
the traps are cool. And we saw that in the theaters together.
We did that. We saw that in the theaters in like 2017. And then it was, we were thoroughly entertained by it.
We were.
But here we had to watch this in a Saw-a-thon after watching so much garbage trash shit movies.
Right. So this is what, number 8. So we watched 1 through 8.
Yeah,
and
7
then
or
we're
something like that. Yeah.
Okay, this is at least a breath of fresh, like a little bit of like,
Yeah.
okay, it's not great, but it's still so much better than the trash that we just watched.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Bloody Mary break. Whew. So they had some other cool stuff going for it. The location of a barn was cool. That was interesting. It was like out in the woods, and we had never seen that before.
No, It was always in like a warehouse or a.
And I thought some of the traps are cool, and a lot of people hate this trap, but I thought it was really rad. I really liked the laser trap.
Oh, where it goes up and then.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
the laser trap was a lot of fun. It was decent acting. But it still just hits the same kind of beats and notes as the other ones, and it's definitely better than a lot of them. So number 3,
Right.
oh yeah. All right. So if you haven't seen any of the Saw films, don't. You're not missing much. But if you must watch some, watch these 2. It's really all you need.
Agree. Yeah.
So coming in at number 2 is Spiral, the one that just came out. It's fresh. It's new. It's got Chris Rock, Sam Jackson. We did a review of it recently, so you could go back. We'll do a link to it in this video, and you can check out a review if you're interested. But this one was definitely a breath of fresh air from the whole franchise.
So much.
You know, we talk a lot about this
So much.
in the review, but there's a lot of daytime, there's a lot of public, there's establishing shots of a city, which you don't get that in these other Saw films. They're so drab, and they're so
Like,
the sets suck so bad.
right, and they're just like one
in a
little
cellar
Yeah.
somewhere. So this one brings you out into the world and brings you out into the daytime. Plus you have names like Chris Rock and Sam Jackson, and there's comedy all over this place.
Oh, so much. And it's nice to see. It was so.
Yeah.
It was such a breath of fresh air after
was.
we watched all the others.
Yeah. And Yeah, there's one part in it that's we talked about before, but it's really funny. They do flashbacks to where Chris Rock and Sam Jackson, they flash back to like 10 years prior or something, right? So what they do is they like, what you usually do is you make someone look younger, but for some reason they did the opposite. When they flash back, they look older. Like they gave Chris Rock like more facial hair, and it was gray.
Like he grew out his own facial hair probably.
Yeah.
And
he looked like an old man.
50s?
Yeah, but he's supposed to be younger. And then Sam Jackson, they just like slap on like
dollar store
a
mustache.
dollar store mustache that like makeup had the bottom of their kit because they needed a mustache and didn't have one. Obviously a fake one. So that was funny, intentional or not. But yeah, I mean that one was cool. But again, outside of the umbrella of a Saw movie, just if it was on its own, it's still just a kind of a run-of-the-mill like bad guy cop thriller flick,
Right.
that you'd catch, late night TV in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it does have a 90s feel to it.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. So, I mean, truly, if you only watch one, watch the original, which is my number one, Saw, made in 2004. And really congrats to the creators for kicking off their own franchise, even if I don't like it, but it made them rich as shit.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And it was it was a fine independent horror flick. I think it was made for like $1 million, and it went on to make a lot of money, like 50 million or something like that, something crazy. And it does, no matter what you think, what I think of the films, this one has one of the biggest plot twists in horror history, I believe.
Oh, first.
At least top 3.
Blew my mind when I watched
Yeah,
it.
it was like, whoa. But unfortunately, then almost every movie had to have that afterwards. Like, we got to have a twist. And the twists weren't even twists. They were just so dumb. But the first one is a cool flick. Danny Glover's in it. The plot was actually pretty simple locations. But I want to be done talking about these now. So
that's it. You're done.
So my ranking was Saw 5, Saw 3D, 6, 4, 3, 2, Jigsaw, Spiral, Saw. What? Your turn.
All right. Well, mine don't differ that much from yours.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple that are flip-flops.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. So my number 9,
Hit at me.
no surprise, is number 5.
Yeah.
I mentioned him earlier, but we have Walmart Stallone in this one.
We do, which you coined him Walmart Stallone, and that's really funny.
I doodled pretty much the entire time we watched this movie.
Yeah.
And it was trash. I didn't care why. I don't care why at all. I want all of them dead. I don't want to see Walmart Stallone's face anymore.
Yep.
Go away.
Yeah, he's like one of the cops, and also he's like the new killer when they kill.
Oh, he's fucking boring as shit. And he's like, he's just hate it, trash, brother-in-law.
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
Yeah. All right.
But okay, moving on. Because again,
I agree totally.
I don't care. All right, my number 8 was number 6.
Mm-hmm.
And in my notes, I found that I do not care.
Which is a running theme of these movies.
Because that's the one. Is it Patrick Sean Platt, whatever his name is?
No, 6 was the zoo.
Oh, the zoo. See, they all just start to blend together for me.
6 is the zoo with
Oh, the acid.
6 is the merry-go-round shotgun.
Right.
6 is the zoo.
This guy's trying to go life. It was the life insurance.
Yes.
Or medical insurance or some bullshit.
So is that still your pick for that one, or were you?
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
number 6.
Okay, gotcha.
I just get them confused because
They all run together.
They run together. So what I think was in 6 was in 5 or 4
Yep.
or some bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't care. Didn't care about any of them. Fucking die, all of you. Don't care.
Yeah, that's one thing that these movies lack is people to relate to and to latch onto, like
I don't want to see
a
that
hero,
person die.
a heroine, someone you can sympathize with to take you along this journey. But you're just with a bunch of idiots and assholes and people that make terrible choices, and
so terrible
and
choices.
there's nobody on either side you root for ever.
Like, is that the one where they had to, like, if they would have just cut their arm a little in the blood and everyone would be fine, but they started killing each other off? Like pounds of flesh or some
I think that
bullshit.
was 5.
See? All right.
Right?
We're moving on now.
Keep
Okay.
going.
Number 7
Yeah.
is number 7. Saw the final chapter.
Yeah.
Saw 3D. You fucking lied. You're not the final chapter because we have 3 more movies or 2 more movies after this. So lies. Don't
Yes,
have lies.
All lies. It's
All
not
lies.
the final chapter.
Bobby, the character that we're supposed to be like rooting for, he
Mhm.
sucks at that game. He sucks at that
Oh,
game hard.
Sean Patrick Flannery.
I'm
Yes.
gonna throw a key at you while you're blindfold
Yeah.
and hope you catch it.
Yeah, they're like
fuck
up on these
up.
beams, and this guy's in a trap, and he's blinded,
Oh my God.
and the other guy's over there with the key. He's like, "Catch, fucker!" But he was like sincerely trying to throw it to catch him. He's like, "Oh!"
And the guy dies, and he's like, "No!" Like, really, Bob?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Yep.
And oh, and that's when I put Dr. One Foot is back. Because I was dying to know what happened to him.
Dr. One Foot.
Like, I don't care.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't, the whole time I was not like 2 through, 6 going, I wonder what happened to the guy from the first one.
Where's Carrie Elwes?
Where did he go? Did he die? I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't
nobody
care.
gives a shit.
And then you're right. He just pops up in like an AA meeting or some shit.
He's like, "Hello, I'm Carrie Elwes.
Dr. One Foot here.
They gave me $5 million to be in this. Cheerio."
Right. I've become the bad guy now.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Oh, and then Walmart Stallone again,
Mm-hmm.
and then Dollar Store Cops.
Dollar
Those
Store
are my
Cops.
notes.
Yeah, Dollar Store Cops. I think it was like 5 and dime Ryan Gosling.
So in this series, we have Walmart Stallone,
Yeah.
5 and dime Ryan Gosling, and Dollar Store Cops.
Yep.
Just so you guys are aware. All right,
Oh,
my
boy.
number 6 is number 4.
Yeah.
I did like the death of Donnie Wahlberg.
Oh, okay.
The
Oh, yeah.
smashed to bits.
Yeah, I mean, you could have kept him around, but sure, just smash him. He probably
Just
didn't
smash
want to
him.
be in those anymore.
I mean, and then it's like, really more backstory? I don't
Oh,
need
yeah.
to. Don't explain it to me. I don't fucking care.
So many flashbacks.
It would be so much better if you didn't know why they did everything. If
I
there was
know.
just a crazy ass man putting people in traps, that's way fucking scarier than all of this.
They
long-
explain
There's
everything.
7 movies of I don't fucking care.
I wonder how long of a movie you could make just by piecing together all the flashbacks. I
Oh,
bet
a
you.
whole movie
I bet
for
you
sure.
get at least one full film. Someone out there do that. Cut together a movie, a Saw movie, just with flashbacks inside of each Saw movie.
It's just why John did it, and then why Amanda did it, and why I don't fucking care.
Right?
No,
Yeah. Nobody cares.
the allure is gone now.
Yeah.
I don't. Oh my god, I was wondering what Amanda's motivation was for fucking killing everyone.
And then-
no, I don't.
And then once you do find out, they just retcon it and keep changing it. Oh no, she had another motivation. Oh, she didn't really do that. Oh no, the accomplice. Oh, so like.
Oh, you think there's only one accomplice? There's 7.
Yeah, I think we counted. There's like 7. So this. Okay, continue.
All right.
I could just.
Number 5 is number 2
Yeah.
for me. This is what I put. You're too cocky, New Kids on the Block.
Yeah.
You're too fucking cocky. Because if you would have just sat down and listened to him, you would have realized your son's in the safe right next to you and everything would be fine.
I know.
But you didn't. You're too cocky and hot-headed, and you got yourself kidnapped, trapped, and murdered.
Yep.
So
Never see your son again.
you never see your son again. He's sitting right next to you the whole fucking time.
Take that, hanging tough.
That's right.
If you just
Not
would have
hanging
went, if you just would have went step by step
didn't
with the
say
process. Oh
Um,
boy, yeah, that's cool. All
And
right.
my other notes for number 2 was, oh, look, it's the girl from 7th Heaven and Nikki from One Tree Hill.
Oh, yeah,
That's really
yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh, wait, Amanda's back? No one
With
ca-
a rat haircut.
With a rat. Yeah, amazing haircut, but like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who
I
cares?
hope that hair person got a job and kept getting work because that was some good hair.
I mean, it was very 90, like late 90s, early 2000s hair.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. Number 4
hmm
is number 3.
Number 4 is
For
number
me.
3. All right.
Because I felt that it was better than number 2.
Sure. Yeah.
But again, I hoped that they all died.
Yeah.
It was like,
Right.
I mean, it's better than number 5, but I still hope they all die.
I know. Your main bad guy's like, I'm dying of cancer. Play my game. I'm like, oh, he's just.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I know.
Great. All right.
Yeah. But, some of that stuff did look cool and the acting was good in that, but it's still they're still not good movies.
Yeah, no. And my number 3 is Jigsaw.
Mm-hmm. Same as me.
Yep. It was fast paced. There was better production.
Mm-hmm.
The dude from The Glades, which was a show that I used to watch, was on it. That's
Never
how
seen
I'm remembering these movies. Like, oh, they were on this show, and that person was on
Most
this show.
people were just on like soap operas.
Hey.
What? I'm just.
But we saw it in the theaters. We enjoyed it in the theaters.
Yes.
After watching all the other ones, it was a little better.
It was, yeah.
I did like the barn, and I liked the traps that they had in that.
Mhm.
The silo with the knives falling down,
Yeah.
that was cool. And then getting his leg caught.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still, it's a Saw movie.
Yeah.
And then he's another accomplice. He's the
Yeah.
OG accomplice.
Yeah.
I didn't.
We don't need.
Stop.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. I don't need another one.
Yeah.
I don't care
Exactly.
at all.
Yeah.
So shut the front door.
I
God
know.
damn it.
There's too many accomplices. It's
There's
like
too many.
it just becomes very extremely unbelievable.
Right.
That yeah.
And then there's people out there that are like building traps too, and they're like worshiping him. I don't even know.
Yeah.
All right, my number 2. It's your number 2.
Which is
Spiral.
Spiral. Yeah, it was.
It was entertaining. It was
fine.
funny. Yeah, it was entertaining. It was funny. It was definitely a breath of fresh air from what we had previously watched before. I know we both were like, "Oh God, another Saw movie."
We went in there with very low standards
so low,
to see that film.
So low.
And it was also the first movie we saw since COVID happened in the
Right.
theater, so that
So the whole experience it was awesome. It was great.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
So it was number 2.
And another cool thing about that one, like the killer and all that stuff, was not an accomplice, was not directly connected with your main Saw killer.
Right.
It just that stuff had happened in the world.
He just took that rhetoric
Yeah.
of John Kramer
Mhm.
and applied it because
Yeah.
throughout the whole theme is just corruption of cops too.
Yeah.
And they kind of played up that part.
Yeah, for sure. And I think out of all the killers, the killer in Spiral had the most legitimate reason to do it.
He did because the cop killed his dad. Period.
In front of him when he
In
was
front
a kid.
of him when he was a kid. That's a great supervillain.
Oh, yeah,
hero.
yeah.
And what's the word I'm looking for?
Supervillain, sure.
No, but like origin. There it is. Origin. His origin
His
story.
origin story, yeah. Well, when you think about it, he's like growing up with like Saw stuff happening in the world. So he's growing up and learning about this. All the while, probably, you could say he was tossed around the system with foster stuff like that.
Right.
And at one point, he decided that I'm going to get back at him from the inside.
From the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
And he did.
Yeah.
And it was entertaining.
Yeah. Cool.
And Chris Rock had an awesome car.
Yes. There are some cool cars in this one.
There are some cool
There's
cars
a cool
in
car
this.
in Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed those. Okay, my number 1 is the original Saw.
Number 1.
Really, if you don't even see Spiral, just see Saw. If you see
Yeah.
Saw and you're like, holy shit, that's such, because I remember it being so like a holy shit moment.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely a holy shit moment.
And that was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they ruined it.
They
with
did.
2 through 8.
They completely ruined
They
it.
ruined their magic.
Yep.
They tried to make magic again, and it failed repeatedly over and over, except for kept making money.
Yeah, well, people
But-
kept going to see him.
The magic and the holy, like, oh my God,
Yeah.
holy shit, he was in the room the whole fucking time.
Yeah,
Like, that was so great.
it was.
And then,
It's just, yeah.
so just see that one. Just see the first one and just pretend like the other ones didn't.
Yeah,
Don't.
and if you
didn't
want to see,
exist.
if you want to see another one, then see the one that just came out. Because,
and then stop.
Yeah, then just stop. You've been warned. But yeah, I think our rankings are pretty similar. Like you said, we flip flopped a few, but our top 3 are the same. Our bottom one is the same.
Well,
So
and I also have like in my other notes like 1 through 3 because I kept going booby traps, motherfuckers.
oh yeah,
Booby traps. The cops would just
they were terrible.
they would just run in. Like after the first one, they know booby traps are everywhere.
Yeah,
And what they do, they just go in willy nilly,
yeah.
not looking
I know.
for fucking booby traps.
Setting traps off all
Murder.
over the place. Like, okay, you could give them 2 movies, maybe give them 3, but then you have all these other ones. They just keep running, and
Like,
yeah,
have you not learned, people?
they need data from the Goonies. Oh, booty traps.
Booby traps. All the booby
They're
traps.
booty traps.
Stop it.
Yeah,
And
so many booty traps up in this bitch.
so many booty traps. And then, and number 1, I put Danny Glover was too old for this shit.
Yeah, he was.
So yeah, that was
Those are the Saw films.
our thoughts.
That's what we do. We
And-
don't like this franchise.
And we're never going to watch them.
I don't want to
fucking
see another
again.
Saw movie. I don't want to watch these again.
I love a good torture porn. I love a good
Mm.
gore, and they just bored the shit out of me. They bored me.
There's so many
Bored.
the Collector series. There's only 2,
oh,
but
the collectors, so much better.
they touch on the same stuff, and it was around the same time. But that's such a better movie, and the sequel is so amazing. There's just better films to watch.
There really is.
But
And
the only way I'll watch another Saw one is if they continue, and I think they will. So so Spiral, I read, it just made like $1 billion worldwide, and I think it had a budget of like 30 million. So there's gonna be more.
which was kind of genius on like holding it because no one could see a movie and then releasing it
Yeah.
when like things started to open.
Yeah, definitely. But anyways, that's it. That's Saw movies.
Yep.
So let's wrap this bad bitch up.
All right.
Bloody Marys are. We'll kill them later.
Yeah.
Or dead-ish.
They're deadish. They're still like twitching a little, but
So, yep. Enjoy life and death, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye bye.